I've been going to festivals since I was a little boy, about 9 years old. We had a festival in my hometown in California. And ever since then I've been going to festivals, spiritual festivals. But I have to say, this is one of the best I've ever been to. And you know what makes it so great? All of you. So many beautiful people here. I'm so happy to be amongst you all. Let's give you a round of applause. And let's give thanks to all the teachers. So many beautiful teachers have been here. Not just the teachers, but all the performances. Who liked the concert tonight? Wasn't that beautiful? Let's give Yoga Maya an applause. And Manjari Leela, was anyone there for Manjari's beautiful concert? What about the drums last night? Wasn't that fun? Everybody like the drums? Let's give a round of applause for the drum team. How about the volunteers? One more for the volunteers. And all the amazing booths and the cafe, and really it was an amazing, amazing, lovely festival. Tomorrow is going to be the grand finale. Tomorrow we're having the Festival of Colors. Anyone seen that? Right? Holi. You heard of Holi before?
Yes.
Holi. Interesting how, I don't know what Holi actually means. Actually, there's an interesting story behind it. We're not going to get into it, but it's interesting how in Sanskrit the word holy, in English it's holy, right? Auspicious, something sacred or pure. Holy is actually the name of, it's a very interesting story actually, so I'll just mention it. It's actually very beautiful, the origin of the Festival of Colors. It's a story of the power of love and innocence and faith to protect. So it's a festival, it's something festive, right? A celebration. What we're here to do. What's everyone's favorite part of this festival? If you were to say, what did you really like about the festival? The people, the prasad, the food, the energy, the mood, the atmosphere. So that's what it means to have a celebration. But the Festival of Colors has a very interesting origin. There was a little boy, his name was Prahlad. And since he was a little child, he really loved God and would always pray and chant. But his father was an atheist and very kind of demonic. And he was trying to hurt his son and kill his son even. And so it's a very dark story actually, but it has a good ending, don't worry. So this little boy named Prahlad, his father tried to hurt him in so many ways, but because the boy he had so much faith, and he was always praying and chanting the name of God, that he was always protected. It's a very beautiful story. So one day his father, he called his sister, her name was Holika, Holi. And she was like a very powerful, I don't want to use the word witch, but I know what else is the word to use. And she had this boon that she could be in fire without getting burnt. You can imagine. And so her brother, the great demon king, asked her, this boy is like destroying my whole lineage. Why? He's teaching everyone to love God. And he was an atheist and he said, this is very bad. He was teaching everyone, this boy is teaching everyone to love God, and he's always happy and joyful and everyone's dancing with him. This little boy, he would go to school and everyone would just dance and sing together. And the father was so angry. He said, you go to school, why? To learn politics, to learn economics, to learn how to be successful, to learn how to cheat people and gain, power. That's why you go to school. And he said, okay, this is all okay. But I go to school to dance and sing and love God. That's what I've learned in school. His father would ask him, what did you learn in school? He would say, I learned to sing about God and to meditate and pray to God. And imagine this 5-6-year-old boy telling like this, and the father's like, And he was a very demonic person. So he arranged, finally, the aunt, you can imagine, it's just a horrible thing, right? She took the boy in her lap, and they made a house, a beautiful house, but it was all of like dry wood. And she was sitting with him on her lap, and at night they lit it on fire. And she had the boon that she wouldn't burn. But the boy, he was so soft and innocent, and all night long, he was just praying and chanting the names of God. Praying and chanting the names of God. And in the morning, the king and all his messengers came, and they saw everything was ash. And you know what they saw in the middle of all the ash? This 5-year-old boy sitting with his eyes closed in meditation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. All around him ash. This lady was also burned to ash. And very soon after that, his demonic father was also destroyed. So this is a very interesting story because this is the origin story of the Festival of Colors, which is a celebration. But what is it a celebration of? It's like a celebration of life, of victory over darkness, over death, over atheism, over cruelty and violence. That's what it's a victory over. So in the morning, when that boy was sitting there, all these sages and demigodly heavenly beings, they all came. And you know what they did? They took some of the dust and the ash and some flower pollen, and they put it on the feet of the boy. And they took that that dust on their head. They said, "Oh, this boy is so holy. This boy is so holy." So this is kind of one of the messages of this holy festival. The Festival of Colors, the celebration of life, the celebration of the power of spirit and love and devotion and faith. There's a beautiful verse. So we're here to sing and dance together, but also to sing and to call out the names of God. And those names are very powerful. In the scriptures it said, if you're chanting these names, whatever you may fear, it fears you. It runs away. The other day anyone seen Monsters Inc? A cartoon animation, Monsters Inc? Any of the parents with their kids here? It's a really sweet Pixar movie, Monsters Inc. All the kids are afraid of the monsters. What's under the bed? What's in the closet? The monsters are terrified of the kids. Right? Why? Innocence, purity, life. In the Bible it says, to enter the kingdom of heaven, what do you need to be like? A child. Become like a child. Innocent, soft, sweet. No false ego, no pride, no violent mood. Pure. So we're trying to develop that sense of innocence and sweetness. There's another origin of the Festival of Colors story. This is something more transcendent, you could say. And it's a topic that's important for us here. We're at the festival. What's the festival here called? Masters of Calm. Right? What does it mean to be a master of something? And so for a few days we talked about different kinds of masters, different kinds of teachers. So in our tradition, who is the greatest master? Anybody know? The greatest master. The highest guru. The best of all gurus. Her name is Radharani. It's a lady. No, it's the supreme form of the goddess. The supreme Radharani, eternal, beloved of the Lord. Inseparable. Our conception of God is not just masculine, it's balanced. Masculine and feminine. Two inseparable halves of the absolute truth. This is the proper Vedic understanding of God. When we say God, it doesn't just mean the Father. It means the Father, the Mother, the husband, the wife, the beloveds together. Shakti, Shakti, Mator, Advaita. They are inseparable. And yet, Krishna, who is very sweet, very beautiful, very charming, he says that Radharani is my guru. Radhikara Prema Guru. And what is the nature of her teaching? Love. The teaching she gives us is pure love. Not based on what we think in this world, that I'll be happy, I'll enjoy, everyone else is going to make me happy. No. Pure love just means the desire to please your beloved. This is how it's defined. when we're trying to enjoy ourselves, satisfy ourselves, make ourselves happy, this is selfish. It's called lust, kam. And love is the desire in your heart to please and serve in a favorable way your beloved. And so Radharani is always teaching this to Krishna. So this is the origin of our festival. On this festival of colors, there's a tradition in India based on that story of the lady's name was Holika, right? It said because she was full of malice and anger, and because he was so pure that her boon had no power over the sanctity of the innocence of the boy and his pure faith and love. It didn't have any place there. So in Indian tradition, on the day of Holi, which is usually in the spring, everyone goes and originally they take a little bit of flower pollen. Nowadays we use like a powder and different things, but originally they would collect pollen from the flowers. Imagine like saffron pollen, how fragrant. You know, saffron is more expensive than gold by volume, by weight. Anyone know saffron? How beautiful saffron smells? And one flower gives only like 1 or 2 stems a year. And so you imagine they're collecting the pollen from saffron, which is more valuable than gold. And they collect all these types of different special flowers and all the pollen. And then in the morning time of this day, which is in the spring, when spring begins, they take this and they put it on the feet of those they love. Like their parents first. Parents, your grandparents. So tomorrow, all the kids, okay? Before you throw flowers in the air, you should put it on your parents' feet. Your parents are the first masters of calm, right? Parents definitely have to be masters of calm, right? Do we have any masters of calm here? Parents, right? When your kids are being really naughty and restless, you just have to go, Om Shanti. Let's do an Om Shanti together. Okay, everybody breathe in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right, whenever your kids are getting really restless, okay, you can just sit down and teach them how to do this, okay? Being really naughty, okay, you can just say, okay, breathe in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All right, so to all the parents, you are masters of calm. All right, let's give a round of applause for the parents. Right. So you teach your kids, how do you teach them to respect you? You teach them to respect their grandparents. In Indian culture, you first go and you give a little bit of this flower pollen on the feet of your grandparents. Dada Dadi in Sanskrit, in Hindi. Vedic culture is a culture of respect, right? In relationships, how do you start a good relationship? You start with respect for each other. Yes? Anyone agree? Right? Relationship, what's the foundation of a good relationship? Respect. That you value the other person in the relationship. And so imagine we're showing that respect by taking these very valuable things. Imagine like the saffron pollen. Very valuable, but not just valuable, it's very soft. It's very fragrant. It's very beautiful. You're putting on the feet of those people that you really love. And you're showing that I am grateful for you. We've been talking about gratitude the last few days in our classes. If you develop gratitude for something, then it's going to improve your life because it's more likely you're going to keep it in your life. So you can meditate. I've been meditating on this. What am I grateful for in my life? And if you don't understand that, then you're risking losing it. If you realize I'm grateful for this thing, then I should show respect for it. And then it's going to continue to be near me in life. And so this is what we do in the Festival of Colors. So first you show honor to your teachers. In Vedic culture, a teacher is called a guru. Nowadays, guru is like, guru, it's like a heavy word. It means heavy, okay, no problem. but it's also a very soft word. It's a very, very sweet word. The first gurus are the parents. Mother, father, the first teachers. And then you go to school. And in spiritual life, you also have spiritual parents, spiritual teachers. It's called diksha and shiksha. Someone who gives you a mantra to chant, to realize your true spiritual nature, like a parent. The mantra is described to be the mother. For those who want to know, like when you see us, we're chanting mantras or chanting on prayer beads. The mantra is described to be the mother, and the teacher who gives the mantra, they're like a father. And they're helping the soul be born into its true identity. So you also offer some flower pollen to them because you're appreciating them. And then what do we do afterwards? Don't worry, we also get to celebrate and party. You put it on their feet and then you start throwing it everywhere. Then you give it to everybody else. So this is the Festival of Colors. We're going to have that tomorrow as a celebration of life. Not just a celebration of life though, it's a celebration of faith, of devotion, of beauty, of respect. And it's a very beautiful festival. Something that, anybody know the author Dostoevsky? Okay? Brothers Karamazov, Crime and Punishment, Idiot. Beautiful books, right? Something he said is very interesting. He said, beauty will save the world. Anyone heard that quote? Yeah. Seems a little utopian, huh? Like, beauty will save the world. Anybody believe in it? Yeah. Beauty will save the world. What kind of beauty is he referring to? Right? Beauty is not such a simple thing that you can just say, it's a simple thing, but it's also very deep and profound. What does it mean? What is something that is beautiful? And you know how I believe it'll save the world? Not by trying to take it for yourself, but by trying to serve and honor it, to respect it. Mostly people want to acquire beauty, to have beauty as like an object of their enjoyment. But our belief is that all souls are inherently beautiful, and our quest in spiritual life is, you could say, to manifest our true beauty, our true talents, our true arts, and offer that in love and service and giving to the divine and to each other as an offering. That's called devotion or bhakti. Not to enjoy beauty, but to serve. Not to acquire beauty, but to be beautiful. Right? And this is something that's very interesting. The other day we had a talk, right? It's very interesting, metaphysical question. What is the gender of consciousness? It's like, whoever thought of such a weird question? What is the gender of consciousness? Is consciousness male or female? Consciousness is eternal, eternally existing, eternally aware, and by nature, blissful or striving towards a blissful state. So consciousness is neither male nor female, but its nature is called Prakriti. We sang this song, Prakriti Sundari, which means that the nature of Prakriti, which is consciousness in devotion and service, is Sundari, beautiful. Sundari is Sanskrit for beautiful. So this whole festival of Masters of Calm, it's been a very beautiful festival. Why? Because it's been a celebration of life, not just of life, but of spiritual growth. We have an ashram in New York, and our mission statement is to serve people on their spiritual journey. That's our mission. Not to save the world, to save the individual, to help each individual grow to their highest potential. And in doing so, the whole world will be a better place. Beauty will save the world. But by being beautiful, by serving beauty, how do you become beautiful? According to whatever your nature is, use your talents, develop your talents to the highest extent, but then engage them in the service of love and beauty and grace and truth. Never to harm others, never to exploit or control. Take care of yourself, take care of your families. But what we say is serve. Our mission in English, we call it serve love. In Sanskrit, it's called prem seva, loving service. And in English, we say serve love. It's a call to action. If you were to ask me, what's your call to action? Serve love. Serve beauty, serve grace. Don't try to enjoy and take for yourself. Give. And find your inner bliss, your inner state of peace and tranquility so that you can give of yourself wholly those you love, and develop faith. And the power of devotion, the power of faith, is extremely powerful. No one has to affiliate with anything in particular. You can all follow your own path. There's so many paths. But what I would recommend is, in relationship, for a successful relationship, you must commit. Commitment, it's the power of a successful relationship. And so it's very difficult to commit in spiritual life these days because there's so many options. We had this question this afternoon. What do I do? There's so many options. So we're very confused these days because there's like a million options. In the Middle Ages, it was very easy. Become a Christian. And if you didn't do it, uh-oh. Spanish Inquisition. And if you were like a teacher in Masters of Calm, it's a witch! It's a witch! So that's not what we believe. Many flowers are in the field. Each flower has its own beauty, its own color, its own shape, its own fragrance. So that's the world we want to live in, where everyone can express their individuality, where we celebrate differences. Not just differences of people and races, but differences of opinion. So we can think of that tomorrow, our Festival of Colors. It's a festival of colors, not one color. Right? Tomorrow it's many colors. So that means I celebrate all individual expressions of love and beauty and grace, where it's pure and true, and it's in a service mood. A mood of, let your life be like living in prayer by your actions. We all talk about, let's pray before we go to bed at night, pray when we wake up. But why don't we talk about how you pray through your daily life? How do you make your life a living prayer? By your dealings with each other, by your dealings with those you love, by how you work, by how you treat each other. Let that be your prayer in action. This is what Krishna teaches in the Gita. Whatever you do it with love and devotion. And then you can see in your life, everything around you will become better and more beautiful. And you can save yourself, your bubble, your family, your society, and the world. And don't be worried too much about the outside. Things are always in flux and changing. But here we are in Masters of Calm, right? With what is our message ultimately about spiritual life? If you were to say, what's the recipe for spiritual life, for success in spiritual life? You want to know my recipe? Not my recipe, Rupa Swami's recipe. 5 things. Be with people who you can truly say, appreciate you, share your same values, have affection for you. That's what a real teacher is. A teacher or a guru is someone who has affection for you first, who has a similar mood. In other words, he's inspiring or she's inspiring your innermost essence, awakening your highest potential with affection for you and is helping you advance. So you be in association of people like that. Like we're all here together, drawn by the same principles, drawn by the same calling. Right? Krishna calling on the flute. All those people who were drawn to that calling came. So everyone who's come to Masters of Calm, should we all come back next year? Let's all come back next year. I hope I can come back next year. I don't know what God wills, but I'll try. We'll see. So this has been a beautiful festival in eternal Braj. It's an eternal land of beauty. It's not, you could say it's very hard to have faith in something you haven't seen, right? It's very hard to have faith in something you haven't seen. Has anyone seen God here? Anyone seen God? So it's hard to have faith in something you haven't seen. But if you find someone who has seen it, then they can help you see it through their action and their behavior and their speech and their wisdom. They can give you a vision of something that you cannot see. So therefore in our tradition we say we see God through hearing of someone who has seen God. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Diviva Chakshuratatam Tat Viprasa Vipranyavo Jagrivam Sasamindate Vishnu Jap Paramam Padam, the eternal realm. The great sages through meditation and trance see it and then they describe it to us. So these descriptions of what we hear, the dancing in the eternal realm of Vrindavan, the singing, it's described by Brahma. Every step is like a dance. Every word is like a song. It's the true land of eternal milk and honey. And they have seen it, and so they describe it to us. And if we follow a practice, follow a process, the chanting, the japa, the sadhana, the meditation, the mood of service, of devotion, of being together, then we can also come to see that. And we can also come to enter that. And in that realm, we can really find what it means to be an Ananda. Soul is Satchit Ananda, eternal consciousness and bliss. So we're all eternal, we're all conscious, aware, but we need to all be in eternal bliss. So that's why we are striving towards that. And if you look at the Vedic literature, there's an aphorism that says, what is our nature? Amritasya putraha. We are all children of bliss or divine nectar. This has been a very blissful festival, and we're going to sing and dance a bit tonight, but I'll leave you with that as a meditation. How can our life be like a prayer? Our actions. How can our actions be love? In our path, we don't just say we make an offering. Our whole life is an offering. Every waking moment, every resting moment, it's all an offering to beauty and to love and to grace. So that is our path. And so there's a very beautiful meditation I'll leave you with. How beauty will save the world, you could say. One time Krishna was meeting with Radharani, his guru. He went for seeking guidance from his guru. And he dressed up as a heavenly damsel, you could say, because he wanted to get an answer separate from who he was. Just an answer without him being there, you could say. And he said, I've always caused so much trouble to you. It's a meditation on love. He asked her, Krishna, the supreme aspect of Godhead, asking Radha, the supreme feminine counterpart, the half of reality, through which the whole universe is manifested. He said, what is the nature of real love? What's your definition of love? Can someone here want to define love? Anyone? What is the definition of love? Anyone? What is the definition of love? All right, so I'll tell you what Radharani said. Because she's the master of calm, the supreme master of calm, the supreme goddess. Krishna said, I'm always causing you so many problems. I'm saying I'm going to be there, and then I'm not there, and you're always lamenting and wanting to be with me. And I'm late, or I go somewhere else, or I'm leaving and going to some other place, and whenever Krishna said that before I appeared, this land was always happy and beautiful. Once I appeared, so many demons came, so many problems came, so many obstacles came. Why do you love me? That's what he asked her. Not me. He said, why do you love that boy? He was in disguise. He said, why do you love that boy, Krishna? Such a rascal. And she listened to him, and she was a little bit in an angry mood. She was like, why are you criticizing my Krishna? So she was a little bit fiery, but very soft. And once Krishna finished speaking, Radharani said, all right, do you want to hear the definition of love? What is real love? And she said, real love, if you really love something, that love can never be broken. That's the nature of love. Real love, pure love. It overcomes all obstacles. And not only does it overcome them, it becomes stronger by them. And so then she gave an example. This is in verse 54 and 55 of a beautiful Sanskrit literature called Prem Samput by one of our realized sages, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Radharani there spoke, like, who has heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna is speaking many verses to Arjuna. And there's many teachings and many Upanishads, many masters, but this is really beautiful because this is something that the divine goddess, Shri Radha, spoke to God himself, Krishna, as the definition of love. So she is the highest divine master. In our line, we worship her. And by her desire, we also serve her beloved Krishna. So she says something. She said, love is like a lion. That's what she said. And any obstacle in its path, lion is never afraid. Real love. Like if you have real love in your family, no matter what happens, you protect, you serve, you take care of, and you show it through your life. And it's courageous. That's why love and courage without love is not real courage. Courage comes from the word core, the heart. And that's also where the seat of love is. And real love is the highest courage. What do we see in this world? The courage of a mother, right? Protecting the child. That's also what you see like. Or the courage of a father, the courage of a husband and wife, taking care of each other. That force that can, why would you imagine someone's going to be shot and you jump in front of them and take the bullet? Who will you take the bullet for? Someone you love. So courage comes from love. So Radharani said, love is like a lion. And any obstacle in its path, it devours. So what is a lion's enemy? Imagine big, wild, mad elephants. What are those elephants? Elephants are representatives of obstacles in the path of love. And so Radharani said, lion like love devours the elephants. And it's stronger by it. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be beautiful? If any obstacle in our love only made it stronger. And so she says it's like an elephant, and you eat it, and you become more strong. That's love. Sarvatra Dvamsarahitam, Rupa Swami says, love is that thing that if there's all reasons for it to be broken, it only becomes stronger. That's courage. It's like a deep-seated power, an emotional seat of its security, faith, devotion, and will. And then she says something more beautiful even. She says, when problems come in life, how do you react? How do we react in life when problems come? She says, the darker the situation, the brighter your love. Like a candle. When it's bright and sunny, you can't see the brilliance of the candle. But when it's dark at night, no moonlight, you're in the dark and you light a candle. How beautiful is that candlelight? How beautiful is that fire? She said that is the nature of love. The darker the situation, the more beautiful your love shines. And she then said, love is fearless. Love is fearless. It has nothing to be afraid of because it's pure. It's not selfish. It's not for itself. It's to give. Love gives. When you find your inner bliss, you could say, that's like a spring that's always overflowing and then it's always giving to others, like the tree. What does the tree do? Without trees, we couldn't breathe. The tree gives oxygen. It recycles all our toxins, all our carbon monoxide, right? You want to kill the world, cut down all the trees. Right? But the trees are giving their light, giving their shade, giving their heat, making us a shelter. And so how can we become like trees in the sense of tolerating all difficulties, being truly humble and giving? So Radharani said that love sleeps at night like a lion, fearless. A lion doesn't have a house. Lion sleeps in the plains, in the open. It's never afraid. Doesn't need walls and lock. Why? No one messes with the lion. Right? You don't mess with the lion. So she says, love sleeps at night with no fear. And love has a form of pride. Pride is described to be, pride, don't be proud. Don't be proud. But there's a kind of good pride. You know what that is? It's called the pride of possessiveness. He is mine. Mamata. In Sanskrit we say mamata means minus. Mama. Mamata, mine. But in a pure relationship, it means this person is mine. I'm responsible for them. I've taken charge of them. They are my beloved. And so that pride of they are my beloved in that eternal realm makes you very strong. So she describes that point that no matter what obstacle there is, love only becomes stronger. Even if the obstacle is coming from your beloved, coming from society, coming from family, coming from fortune, bad fortune, whatever problems are there in the world, it only becomes stronger. So let's have that as a meditation for us. We learned this from Radharani. She says, love, one more thing. Love completely disregards dog-like obstacles. Right? We do this in our ashram in New York. Sometimes there's problems. Oh, this happened, that happened. And one person will say, oh, that's a dog-like obstacle. Why waste your energy on it? Right? Some things in life, sometimes we fight with each other, sometimes we argue with each other. Don't let that break your love so easily. Right? Anything that's a big problem, then it's like an elephant. Okay, breakfast is served. Eat it, become stronger. Overcome all obstacles by the power of your love and devotion. That's the Festival of Colors. That boy Prahlad, 5-year-old boy, even though all these problems came to him because he really loved, because he really had devotion and faith, he overcame everything. There's one more story, but this is a Christian story. No one will mind, right? Anyone heard the story of David and Goliath? And I'll tell the whole story, but the essence, there was a little boy, little shepherd boy. His job was to take care of the flock. And they were being attacked by this army that was much more powerful than them, a much bigger army. And there was Goliath, which was like a 9-foot tall giant-like warrior with his armor was like 200 pounds. And he said, instead of us all fighting and killing each other, one of your best man should fight me. And if he wins, then I give up our fight. And right, if you win, you take what we have. They were attacking them. So anyhow, the point was, for days and days, he was challenging them, and no one was ready to face him. Imagine that it's 9 foot. Imagine right now, some 9 foot tall, 400-pound muscle with 200 pounds of armor and big weapons say, one of you will fight me, and if you win, then I won't attack you. Who's going to fight him? Anyone here going to fight the giant Goliath? So this boy said, I'll do it. And finally they agreed, and the king gave him his own armor. You know what the boy said? It's too heavy. His little boy, like Prahlad, little boy, 7-8-year-old boy, and David, right? They wanted to put all the armor on him. It was so heavy that he could barely walk. He said, no need. He took a few little rocks and a slingshot. And he went to battle. And the Goliath was insulted. You sent this little boy against me? Why have you sent this boy against me? And so anyway, he started charging toward the boy. He said, I'm going to eat him like a pickle. I'm going to destroy him. And then I'm going to take all of your lands and everything. And the boy said, you're fighting with me with your own strength, with your own body, your own prowess. I'm fighting with you, not against you, but with my faith in God. Chanting his name, remembering God, with faith in him, praying to him. And as that giant ran towards him, he took his one rock, swung it around, and opened Goliath's third eye. Yoga, boom, Savasana. Anyone know Savasana? Right, boom, he laid down. Corpse pose, Savasana, perfection. He perfected his yoga asana of Savasana. So this little boy, you see the power of faith, the power of love. So that's what it means to be courageous, going up against odds. Doesn't mean not to fear. Some people tell me, I'm afraid of commitment in life. I'm afraid of relationship. I'm afraid of spiritual commitment to a path. So we're all kind of like, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. I am non-sectarian. I'm unaffiliated. I'm spiritual. That's fine. It's very good. But without commitment, it's hard to really achieve success in anything, really. So fear of something isn't